the first thing, it starts with what is your product, right? What kind of product are you selling? Is it something that people need every week, every month? Or is it something that people need once every 5 years, right? And then retention looks very different depending on that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to D2C Growth Mode, a podcast by Momodo where you learn from D2C experts tactics and skills to master your growth journey. Our guest today is Salima Nadira, or is it Sasha M? Well, we've got two in one today. Salima is a growth marketing fairy and is the head of product marketing at Airbox. But she's also her own product, producer, marketer, and cheerleader, growing her music career and fan base as the pop star Sasha M. As you may imagine, Salima has her creative genius up and running from the moment she wakes up till nighttime, and probably in her dreams too, I suppose. I'm stoked to learn more about her unique journey and all the learnings she's gained during this whole decade of marketing and music. And Salima, honestly, Sasha, it's awesome to have you. Thank you so much and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Mariana. What an introduction. I never felt my dual personalities so much as that introduction. So I'm very honored to be here, and I'm going to do my best to give you guys some useful information from both of my lives.
Cool. Exciting. Okay, so let's start right at the beginning. Let's dig into your memories. So when you were a kid, do you remember what you wanted to be when you grew up, and how did that turn out for you?
Okay, easy. When I was 7, I was in school, and my teacher asked the whole class actually, write down in your journal what you want to be when you grow up. And get this, I wrote that I wanted to be a performer. Not a singer, not a dancer, not an actress, not a whatever. I said performer. And it's so funny because since then I did dance professionally. I did music professionally, and I acted professionally. And so technically now I did achieve my dream, my childhood dream of being a performer. So that's crazy.
Oh my gosh, you're one of the few of us that actually got there. That's so cool.
To some degree.
Awesome. And you have worked in the music industry for over a decade, and you started your own brand from zero. So can you tell us that story?
Yeah, so it's a very, very long story, but I'll try to keep it really short. So one of my first steps into becoming an artist, a recording artist, is I actually used to be in a girl group. And it was 3 girls singing harmony, kind of like Destiny's Child or Little Mix or Fifth Harmony, our favorite groups. And we went for a performing arts competition in Singapore. We won. And then we flew all the way to Hollywood, Los Angeles.
Really?
And we competed with performing groups from all over the world. In the finals, it was us and an Australian team and a team from South Africa. And we won.
What?
So
I was not expecting that. That's awesome.
I know, it's so crazy. We didn't expect it at all.
Oh my gosh, you're so humble. I was just like, okay, this story is gonna end with not such a happy ending, but it was a happy ending. That's so cool.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, and so with an opportunity like that, obviously we have to take it as far as we could. So we got signed to a record label. We chose one in Singapore because it was just it made sense for us because all of us were based in Singapore. And then, that's when we started learning about, the music industry proper, and seeing it as like a career and not just a fun thing that you could do as a hobby. So it was a really, really strong start.
Oh my gosh. And how did that go from being in a girl group to having your solo career?
Yeah, so this is when the story becomes less fun. Unfortunately, when you learn about the music industry, you start to uncover all the not so nice parts about it. I think that's true of any industry. But in this case, all the not great parts of it really affected our group, and we ended up leaving the label, and we split up. I think at the point where we left the label, actually, the other girls didn't want to continue doing this in this way anymore. But I was different because at that point, I had just left my job because I wanted to go all in with the music thing. And so I was at a point like, well, I've just given up everything for this, and I really wanted to do my best. So if, we're not going to be able to do it with the group, then maybe I can find a way to do it by myself. Which was not ideal. I didn't want it that way, but I was like, well, I don't have a choice. So
it's kind of like the Harry Styles kind of path, right? So
I guess every group also has like that moment where someone breaks off from it and does a solo career.
Right.
Yeah, but I wouldn't compare myself to anybody on that level. Like,
I mean, like maybe not yet.
Group.
Yeah, but
not yet. But one day,
of course. Awesome. Okay, and then I have. Okay, this is a question that I've had in my mind since the moment we met. So, you actually chose to go with a different name than yours, right? I actually want to know why, and how did you come up with that name? Because it's similar to yours, so it resembles the Salima, but at the same time, why am in the end? I don't know. Like, I have so many questions around that.
Well, you're asking the question that everybody wants to know. Honestly, everyone's been asking me that. And since it's such a coveted answer, you have to know that I'm not going to give it away so easily.
Okay.
So I'll tell you the first part. So Sasha, that's a name. Okay, stepping back a little bit for context, why I'm using a different name from my real name. It starts from the record label. So when we were a girl group, the label had this idea that all of the girls in the group should have a stage name. It's kind of like a name that reflects their unique personality in the group. So think about like the Spice Girls, right? There's like Sporty Spice, Scary Spice, Baby Spice, etc. And those were names that reflected their personalities. So, very much in that line. So we could pick our own names. So I searched through thousands of baby names, which is really funny because I wasn't giving birth, but I guess it was kind of like I was giving birth to a new character, which is really interesting. And then I found the name Sasha. And what I liked about this name is that it sounds really sassy. It's like, hi, I'm Sasha. Like, hi, And I like that, like the spunk of it. And also, I like the meaning of it because it's Russian in origin, and it means defender of mankind.
Ooh, okay.
So Sasha is short for Alexander, and so it's like a very, I guess, warrior type name. And I just loved the meaning of it. I loved that what it stood for, and I was like, that's my name. I'm taking that name. So Sasha, and then M. We'll save that story for another day.
Oh, okay. So we got half of it. Actually, the biggest percentage. I don't know, like how many. I'm not a mathematician. I can do that right now so quickly. But
half. It's half. First half, second half.
Cool. Thank you. Awesome. And it's funny that you went through like the baby name websites. I can totally imagine that. And another funny thing is that, like Beyonce is Sasha Fierce, right? Isn't that her real name? So, or is it not? I don't know. Like there's an album.
Beyonce's her real name.
Beyonce's her name. But what is Sasha, the album? Okay, no.
So Sasha Fierce is, I guess, similar to me, a character that she created, although obviously she did it first.
For some reason,
respect to the queen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her name is, I wonder what her actual name is now. I want to figure it out. But I'm sure I looked this up before. Beyonce Knowles, she has like a middle name. Oh, Beyonce Giselle Knowles.
Oh,
Yeah.
Giselle, like 𝐀𝐻𝐨𝐮�. That's a
Yes,
strong
Giselle
name.
Bündchen.
Okay, cool.
Yes,
Also,
true.
so I think that we need to, like, this context we have to offer to everyone. Like right now, I don't know if you know, you guys, but Salima is in Brazil right now. I'm from Brazil.
Yes,
We have like a lot to
Rio.
talk about, and like she was there during Carnival. She had amazing fun. Like it was just, I was
So
like,
good.
just kind of going through like her stories of it, and it was so fun. And I was just like, oh my god, so
So
jealous.
great.
I really want to be
I
there.
love Brazil. You were born in an amazing country. I wish I was born in it. I want to live here now.
Oh, you were born in a beautiful country too. Come on. But I'm so happy you're there and you get to you make new friends and learn like about our culture too. Okay, I don't have that question in the script, but I really want to ask you this. So, what is one thing about Brazil that you really enjoyed so far?
Ooh, that I really enjoyed. Do I have to pick one? I love the weather. It's warm and it's better than Singapore because Singapore's humid, yes, like here. But at night over here, it's cool. So you get to really enjoy the cool weather in the evening. So I love that. I love the views. There are just stunning views of the city from almost everywhere. There's the Sugarloaf, iconic. It's the view that everybody wants to see. And then lots of other mountains around, and Christ the Redeemer. It's just like everything is so iconic. There's a lagoon. There's Ipanema Beach, Copacabana Beach. Like everywhere around Rio is an iconic view. So your eyes will never get tired of this place. I love also, I'm just going to stick to one more, but one thing I love the most about Brazil is that people are very family oriented. And I've been feeling that a lot because I'm living with a Brazilian family here. And I feel so much their warmth and their kindness and their generosity. And they have a very positive family environment, which getting a little personal, but like it's something that I think I missed out on when I was young. So for me, it's like I'm living that family experience in a better way now. Like I'm redoing family. So I really like it.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I'm very happy that you got to experience that. I tend to agree with you on about everything. And of course, like when you describe the weather and the city, you're talking about Rio. So Rio is a special, even within Brazil, it's a different kind of city. Like you don't really see like Rio. There isn't anything like Rio, right? Rio is really special. So yeah, great. And okay, let's go back. So we're gonna get to marketing soon. I have another question about music. Another thing that I really like about your music is how uplifting it is. I love the beat, and okay, I might have become a little bit obsessed about Friends because it's just so good.
Thank you so much.
Can you share a bit about your creative process with us? And do you consider that it has changed over the years at all?
Okay, so my creative process. I would say that songs, it depends. If I'm writing for work, like there's a brief and then there's a prompt and I'll write to that. Okay, that's work. I'll consider that work. It is creative work, but it's still work. But for songs that I've released, my own songs, all of them come from a personal experience or a feeling. And I'm going through something at that point in time. And then sometimes I'll be with a friend and we'll be in a studio and we'll be like, oh, what are you thinking about? What are you feeling at this point? And we'll write about that. But sometimes I'm just like on my own. I'm having lunch or I'm in a bus or I'm on a plane or whatever, I'm waiting and then the idea will come to me and then I'll grab my phone and I'll just like quickly start recording a voice memo of what, usually the melody comes to me first. So the melody, which might come with like one keyword attached or like the idea, the concept. And then from there, I'll build the song. It's rare that the lyrics come first, but sometimes like a phrase will come and then I'll build the song around that phrase. But it's always like there's some concept that I thought of that represents what I'm going through at that moment. Like it could be heartbreak, it could be a toxic workplace environment, it could be family troubles, it could be personal relationships with friends, like friend drama. It's always some sort of like emotional thing. So, so I just grab that and try to capture it into a song.
Nice. Okay. I love it. And I love the idea of like just like recording a voice memo for yourself and just making sure that that idea doesn't, go away. So
yeah, very important. Voice memos are essential.
Yeah. It's like writers writing on a napkin, right? Because they do that right too. Yeah.
They've got the little notebook. Taylor Swift has a little notebook as well. I'm very digital, so I need it to be on the cloud.
Yeah, totally. And is now you're working as a marketer, leading growth initiatives for a tech brand, and you have the opportunity to apply your unique set of skills, your unique way of connecting with people to a completely different scenario. What is that like for you? Like, how does this empathy and like this feelings and the sentiments that you're willing to share with everyone, like, is that something that is also part of your marketing strategy, or how do you adapt to become a marketer and fit that role at that time?
Very long question, but let me try and get it. So I think being an artist, or trying to build a career as an artist, a solo artist, was one of the most useful things I could have done for myself to be a marketer. Because when you're a solo artist, when you're trying to make connections in the industry, when you're trying to build that network, because I don't make the music, I write the songs and I sing them, but then the production is done by somebody else, right? And then also like opportunities, like learning about stuff. You need the village to help you, right? No man is an island. No woman is an island. So that was, I think, the most important skill that I picked up, trying to get to know people and understand more about how the industry works. Because once you understand how the industry works, that's when you can strategize marketing well, right? So through getting to know people, I got to know more people who work in pop music, which was essential for me because in Singapore hardly anyone does the way that I do. And then I learned from them, what are their learnings about the industry, and then I try to apply them or see if I could apply them, and then test them out, and then just always have someone to like bounce ideas off of. Like have a team, have a gang. You're not in the same company, but like just surround yourself with the people that are doing something similar to you, and that's when you can develop the right strategies for marketing or product development or really anything. So yeah, I think that would be the most important thing.
So it would be, so can you kind of state that into like, number one would be this, number two would be this, number three would be this?
Yeah, I think number one, get to know the world that you work in, the environment. Number two, figure out your audience. Number three, have, I guess, peers that you can bounce ideas off of. And number four, test everything. And yeah, through all of that, you will develop the strategies that work for you.
Cool. Awesome. And is there one thing that both the music industry and the tech industry have in common and it helps you navigate through both environments?
So in my experience of the music and the tech industry, and this is not true of the whole industry, but my experience of it has been very much as a startup or as an entrepreneur. So I would say that for me, that's a big similarity between music and tech, is that all of us are entrepreneurs. And the way that we operate, the way that we, the struggles that we go through, the resources that are available to us, they're very similar. And you'd be surprised, like I'm using the same, digital marketing platforms to promote my music as we are to promote our tech and software. We're using a lot of the same, tactics like email marketing and all this stuff. They're the same. We do exactly the same thing. It doesn't matter what the work is. Marketing looks the same in both. So.
Yeah. And then it's all a matter of like, what's the content that you're actually putting out there, because that content is going to get to a different audience throughout the same channel, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. And do you have a favorite marketing channel?
Favorite marketing channel? Okay, I'll answer for music and for tech. Okay, so for music, I would say my favorite has been Twitch. I know that's a very unorthodox method. Most people would say TikTok. But I guess TikTok didn't really work for me for various reasons, partly because I don't post that much on it, so it's my fault. But Twitch has been really good for me because it's been building meaningful relationships, like quality over quantity. And yeah, that's helped me actually to monetize better. So I prefer Twitch.
And is it also, just one question about that, is it also because in Twitch you get to create like a community that gets to interact a little bit more, like a forum like area?
It's like a live stream with a chat.
Yeah.
And so then you interact with the chat in real time during a live stream. And I think that the experience is very, very meaningful. It's just more meaningful to be able to engage with somebody live. And that helps to build community a lot better as well.
Nice.
Yeah. For tech, I would say my favorite marketing channel would be actually in-person events. But that's because the company is at a stage where we need to talk to people and build relationships to get more feedback about their analytics processes. So it's hard for us we're not just like an app that you just throw on the internet and be like, okay, it does this, done. So we need to actually meet people face to face, and so events works best for us.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about Airboxer?
Yeah, sure. So Airboxer is a data analytics automation platform. That sounds like a lot of words. What it does is, like, if you have metrics on your Shopify store, your Facebook ads, Google ads, TikTok ads, Google Analytics, email marketing, basically they're all over the place. And you're just like, well, how are my sales doing? Right? And I need to combine all of my sales data, my campaigns, right? Revenues from different streams. So we consolidate all of that into one spreadsheet report. So that's the first thing we do. We're like I guess, data transfer platform that works on spreadsheets. So this is where it becomes, I guess, unique and valuable for people, because when you as a business owner want to consolidate your metrics, if you do it on a different platform, you have to learn how that platform works. And then sometimes that platform doesn't really do exactly what you need it to do. And so then you've spent like 3 months learning how to use this platform. And in the end, you can't really use it for what you need. Spreadsheets, on the other hand, everyone knows how to use it. Yeah. Everyone's familiar, right? Like, even if there's something you don't know how to do, your colleague probably knows how to do it. Like, oh, do a pivot table, or, oh, make this formula, right? Use this query. And obviously, you don't have to do it yourself. We also do it for you. So it's just so flexible that you can do pretty much anything that you want in spreadsheets. And you're probably doing it already anyway. So what we do is we just help you to automate that. So you never have to key in, like your daily sales or whatever, you download CSV files. You never have to do that again. We automate that for you. So I hope that explains what it does.
Yeah, it's very clear. And I like that. I also like the flexibility of being in a spreadsheet. You don't have to you already have to learn so many other platforms. So you kind of so we already know about your music project, your entrepreneurial tech project. I wanted to know, and then every channel, like the preferable channels for each of them, but what are the least favorite channels for each of those initiatives?
Okay. Hot take. Meta ads is not a great channel. Okay. I shouldn't say that, but no.
Is that for music or for tech or for both?
Honestly, mainly music in my experience. But I want to say that, I'm just saying that to be contrarian. Actually, Meta ads is still a big and important digital marketing platform. So don't stop your Meta ads, everybody. But what I'm saying is that Meta ads are very expensive. And if you want to get anywhere with Meta ads, then you have to be willing and ready to spend lots and lots of money on it, because the cost per acquisition for new customers or leads or anything that you want from Meta ads has gone up a lot. I don't know the exact numbers, but like, for example, if you were running Meta ads in 2012, you could build a $10 million business. And if you run Meta ads today, it's not going to give you the same results. So yeah, Meta's getting tricky nowadays. Unfortunately, you still have to do it. So do it at your own. Be very strategic about how you're doing it, basically.
And can I add one thing about that? Because I kind of feel like Meta ads make sense to businesses that are selling a product that it's just a really clear sell, and which is different from music, right? Because you're kind of, if you're using it to like just raise awareness about your music, but there isn't really anything that people can actually purchase in the end, it gets more expensive because what's your ROI is going to be like, you know, it's really hard to measure. But if you're selling,
honestly, that's true of the whole industry, like music. What is the ROI? Yeah, but that's a very important point that you brought up, because people don't really think about that. Like, how do you get ROI on music? If there are any artists out there that are struggling with this question, feel free to talk to me, because we can talk for hours and hours about this. I've gone through so many, you know, like strategies, tried so many things. Merch, download gates, free saves, free MP3s. I've tried so many things. So yeah, I'd love to talk about
so
that.
My guess is that it's probably going to be like tickets sold for like a performance or something like that. Like Taylor Swift making a lot of money out of that. So.
True. You know, she drives like, I think it was like a $5.4 billion economy, if I remember correctly. That is just off the top of my head. But yeah, she's making so much money at this point for people that she could start her own country.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
That's what I say. That's just my view.
Would you move there? Like, now I want to know. Would you move to a Taylor Swift?
Would I move to Swift Nation? Well, what do you think it would be called now? Like Taylor Nation? I don't know. Yeah, it might be very compelling. She supports women and young artists, so you know, I can see the benefits of moving there myself.
Right. You might even get your own state or something within.
Maybe.
Right?
Oh,
that'd be cool.
That would be awesome. Yeah, Sasha M state.
United States those Swifties or something.
Yeah, no, that would be fun. I think tickets is a tricky situation. That's a whole other, I guess, type of product, and it comes with different parameters. And usually, if you were to organize an event, you wouldn't be the one selling the tickets yourself, because you would have an agent to do it, and the venue would do it, or something like that. So that would be a different thing. And then there are other deals there's like, it's either you have a fee or you have a revenue share or whatever. So then, you know, the platform will be different. So if you're selling stuff for your own artist website, for example, the thing that I mainly try to sell is merch. And then I haven't gone into like selling the actual song files yet, because song files also, there's another platform that you could buy them on, which is the iTunes, Amazon, etc. So I want to experiment with selling the songs, but maybe not as song files, but like the whole album. So I'm actually going to finally release an EP soonish, sometime this year. Fingers crossed it doesn't get pushed back, but that's going to be my experiment with selling the music on my website, and we'll see how that goes.
Nice. And how about least favorite channels for the tech industry?
Cold calling.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone does it. Everyone should do it, but the effectiveness is very, very low. I think you have to get like through, I'm trying to remember, like at least 50 calls to get like one response. And that response might not be, like, you might not get the answer that you need. So you need like maybe 200 calls, and then you might get one conversion, if at all. And the numbers are insane. As a small team, we just don't have the bandwidth to do that. And we tried it, and It's just not a very effective use of our time or our resources at the moment. So I don't like it.
Yeah.
It might work for somebody else though.
Yeah. I tend to agree. And what about effectiveness when it comes to channels? Like, are there channels that you think that everyone should be, using right now?
Okay, if you're a consumer brand, you absolutely have to build on TikTok. I know it didn't work for me, but also I was not consistent.
It might have
lots
not
of brands
worked yet, right? So you might go back to it and try again.
Exactly. I'm actually starting to build on TikTok now. I'm starting to post more regularly. It's still not as regular as it needs to be. I think it needs to be like once a day or several times a day, which I cannot do. But if you're a new brand and you don't have advertising budget, you should absolutely be leveraging TikTok, especially if you're in the US, because there are many US brands that have built their initial following on TikTok, and because videos will go viral, and then they are, I guess, audiences are able to purchase from the US. So then it just becomes easy for people to become customers immediately. I've seen some studies where consumer brands have gotten the majority of their sales, their initial sales in the first year off of the brand that they built on TikTok, and this is organic. Mm-hmm. And so, it's a good way to start building that. Like maybe for the first year, just do TikTok hardcore, and the second year, it might start to dip down because your brand would be a little bit more mature, and then you might want to start running ads. So that's what I would suggest. You should go on TikTok.
Mm-hmm. Okay, nice. So is that for consumer brands? Do you have any other effective channels in mind for like maybe other types of brands or other types of businesses?
For companies like ours, we're a SaaS platform. We're software, and TikTok would not work for us. I mean, we tried also TikTok, but I don't know. It's just that, seeing someone talk about spreadsheet reports, it just hits different, right? You open your TikTok to see like someone talk about marshmallows.
I was a cat videos,
But like if someone's like on your TikTok opening a spreadsheet, I don't know that you would stay around for that, right? I'm just kidding. I mean, there are very, very good TikTokers that focus actually on like Excel formulas and things like that. So there is a niche. But that hasn't worked for us very well in the past. What has worked best for us is our blog and our SEO efforts. Mm-hmm. So I guess my advice would be if your product, if what you're selling is something that solves a problem that people will be searching for, you absolutely have to do the content route, searchable content with SEO and keywords to solve that problem. Because people are in Google going like, how do I group cells in Google Sheets or whatever, right? Like, how do I, even if it's like a product like welding tools, right? How do I build a wrought iron table, whatever? Do that sort of content because there's all this search traffic and you have to capture it. So do that. But if it's like ice cream and stuff like that, TikTok is great. It's colorful, it's attractive, it makes you feel good, So that platform works well for those kinds of products.
And one thing that I feel like for TikTok as well is that I've been actually using it for to look for stuff like that I would usually go to Google for. So I feel like that is also like kind of maybe could be a thing. So people would be like for like when I actually look up stuff on Google, sometimes I'm not sure anymore if the content that I'm seeing was actually like curated by someone who was not being paid, and it's actually I don't know, looking into just helping out. So how biased are those things? Whereas if I go on TikTok, I'm going to see like someone, just complaining about the couch that they just got that I was thinking of buying. And I'm like, probably not. Or,
Yeah.
So
but there are two things to talk about here, right? Like one is, I'm curious, how do you find stuff on TikTok? Will you actually be searching for products?
I don't think it's done.
Right? So they kind of just come up.
No, I would use hashtags to kind of find stuff, but it doesn't really work that well. A lot of people don't really use them in their videos, so it might not just,
Exactly. Okay, yeah. So there's that possibility, but it's not the most effective way to find a lot of information.
Yeah.
Same for Instagram, which I use a lot. And then the other thing is that I think it's just standard influencer etiquette that if you're being sponsored to write about something or talk about something, that you have to indicate that it's a sponsored post. And this is true of blogs, it's true of TikToks, Instagram, videos, reels, pretty much everything. So yeah, I know not everyone does it, but they should.
Yeah.
I think they should.
Yeah.
Influencers out there, please declare your sponsored post. You should. But there's a gray area too, right? Like for example, a lot of consumer brands, they use influencer marketing. So there are tons of TikTokers out there posting content because a brand asked them to, right? But there's a gray area because like if the brand didn't pay them to do that content, do they have to flag it as a sponsored post? Or can it just be a regular post that they chose to make of this product, right? But then they got the product for free. So then does that count as sponsorship? So there, you can really get into this. And having come from the performing world and having like dealt with a little bit of influencer content myself, like I think about this a lot. So that's why I gave a long answer for this.
Yeah, thank you for the long answer. It is helpful. I do want to ask about growth as well, So actually in your role right now, you're working more with growth than marketing itself. I do understand that sometimes growth and marketing are very related, especially when we're just starting off with a company, because that means that we need to do things that are less scalable. They're not necessarily within the product. They're sometimes, trying out with different audiences. It's more a communication thing than a product thing. But I wanted to hear more about, so in growth, retention and engagement are like probably the most important parts. It's less about acquisition and more about like getting people to actually use the product and use it in the way that we actually think it's going to be more valuable for them. And that's one thing. So you were talking about like we want to be valuable to the D2C audience here in this podcast. So that's also something that in the D2C world is relevant because we're doing, if you actually acquire new clients that buy your products, you want to be able to get them to actually purchase those products again, or to, get people, tell people about it. You like do word of mouth for your product in your behalf. So those are big challenges for everyone, I would say. And they use sometimes they kind of involve the use of very basic techniques. So like we talk about email marketing a lot for that. But it's also like when it comes to like a tech product, it's going to be awesome UX. When it comes to e-commerce, it's going to be something else. So that's kind of like the foundation. But what do you think are like the biggest challenges right now, and some of the learnings that you've gotten like so far in your journey?
Yeah. So retention marketing is great. You talk about that. I think that's a huge topic nowadays. More and more people are seeing retention as being better than acquisition. Obviously, you can increase your customer lifetime value more if you focus on retention, especially for companies that they sell products that might not appeal to a wide audience, right? More niche products. I want to say that the first thing, it starts with what is your product, right? What kind of product are you selling? Is it something that people need every week, every month? Or is it something that people need once every 5 years, right? And then retention looks very different depending on that. So for example, if you have a brand that sells sanitary products, right? Then it's pretty easy. Every month, easy, nothing's ever easy, but it's clear that every month people will need those sanitary products. So in a way, the demand is already there, right? You just have to capture that demand and make sure that it doesn't go to a competitor. And you also have to capture them at the right purchasing time. So then you can offer, like promo codes, you can offer discounts, you can increase your branding. do some events, get people involved, in events, so they're always engaging with their brand, so that your brand is always top of mind when they want to actually purchase the product, and that's how you get retention. That's how you get brand loyalty. If your brand sells a product that you need every 5 years, like maybe a suitcase or bed linens or curtains or something, right? Then retention would look more like, okay, so in this 5 years that you have to think about your next curtains purchase, we still need to engage you. And how are we going to do that? We're going to probably do that through education. So you can send a lot of informative content, either through email or on social media, or create these roadshows or something to share more knowledge and to educate people on maybe all the different types of products, or like how they can use them in the house. Like you make TikToks about tips on how you can style this and that, so that you're always adding value to your potential customers. And then when they actually want to become a customer, they've already gone through the entire decision-making process for which curtain they want to buy, and then they'll buy it from you. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Okay.
That's the moral of the story. Depends on your product, but always focus on retention. And use all the platforms that you can. I would say use email marketing, use social media, use in-person activations. Heck, use billboards if you can, like anything, whatever works.
One thing that I love about that, the fact that you can nurture customers throughout, months and weeks and years in between purchases, when they don't need something again, like they don't need a new mattress every month or anything like that. But you can tell them, of course, like how to clean that mattress, as you were saying, like you can nurture them with education and stuff, but you can also have them use your brand as kind of leverage to kind of to get other people a good product or like a good recommendation or advice. Like I do that a lot. For example, I have a mattress that I really like. So whenever someone is like, I'm looking for a mattress, I'm like, hey, like I did a lot of digging before I bought mine. You don't need to do all of that. Like just, like this is a really good one. And, then you're probably going to like it. There are different ways. So I kind of become like the salesperson for the mattress company. And I feel like
I love that. They should pay you.
They should, right? So that happens to a lot of things, actually. I'm like, yeah, my table, I did a lot of digging, but this is a really good one if you need like this size, this color. So I feel like that's another way of like getting people excited. So it's making sure that your product actually is valuable to them. So not like being pushy if they don't need it. They need to make a very good, they need to feel like they made a smart decision, so that they actually they feel like showing off to their friends later on, saying, I made a really good decision. I can help you make a good decision too. And that can be valuable as like some sort of exchange they can do. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think social proof is one of the best ways that you can get your brand out there. It builds trust more than pretty much anything else. I guess that the tricky part of it is that you can't really control social proof, right? Like people are going to say whatever they want. And these conversations are happening in places that you're not privy to, like what my cousin might say to my friend in the downstairs of my house might not be something that I'm aware of, right? About me, for example. So like how do you know what's being said? And you can't control it, right? Like people are going to say what they want. Mm-hmm. So as a channel that you work on, that's tough. One strategy that brands have used in the past to try and build social proof is to run, for example, meta ads. I know I said meta ads aren't great, but like this is something that people have done. And it could work for you, right? So if you run your meta ads, and obviously this also runs on Instagram, and these posts, so the idea is that you only have one creative, or like sort of like your evergreen creative, and you might have others to support, but like there'll be this one main one that I guess you've decided has worked. Maybe you tested them, and then you decided this is the one, this is going to be the evergreen, and then you really like double down on that one. Okay, and then you put lots of budget into it, you make sure it gets seen by a lot of people, and then you optimize for engagement. And so what that does is that it helps you to build social proof onto that particular ad, that creative. And when a new person sees that ad, then they'll see like, oh, this ad has 500 likes. This ad has 300 comments. Stuff like that. And
Or
that
my
also
friend
helps you
Sasha
build
liked
trust.
this too, right?
Exactly.
Because you can see that.
Right. Like, you have that social network. So then you have your friends. So even better, that's when you as a brand, you can try and mosey up that social proof and get people to trust you online. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that makes sense. Cool. I have another question for you about audience, because I was just thinking it, because you're in Brazil right now, you're originally from Singapore, right? And and you've been to lots of different places in the world, and I'm wondering about like the differences that you've seen in behavior, even because you were just talking about Instagram and you mentioned it so much, and I was just like, yeah, it's so funny because I feel like a lot of times people that I meet here in San Francisco, where I live, are not necessarily on Instagram, but a lot of people that are from other places in the world that live here, they're more likely to use it than some people that are actually from here. Sometimes, I don't know,
Wait,
this is probably my bias, but I don't know. I meet a lot of people from tech that are like probably too nerdy to use for Instagram.
Oh, it's probably because they're from tech. Tech people, they're on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. People on Twitter. And I wonder about that, like how, especially now for music, like how do you kind of see, like, can you actually see different patterns in how people consume your music or how they actually engage with it? And what have you tried, or in different places that have worked or not worked in that sphere?
Yeah, great question, because I think about this a lot, and obviously you need to figure out which. First, you need to try all the channels, and then you see which channel works, and then you double down on that, right? Like I just said. In a way, I'm also biased because I have a preference for Spotify.
We're all biased. That's okay.
We're all biased. It's true. It's true. We're all biased. So I do have a preference for Spotify because I have Spotify, and also because Spotify is, it has its charts. It has these mood playlists, algorithmic playlists. It's constantly innovating. I think I'm biased towards it as a platform because it's constantly trying to improve the platform so that people come back. And therefore, I want to be part of that, right? Spotify makes games nowadays on, like, you open the app and then they'll be like, oh, here's a time capsule game that you can play in. If you choose one mood, and the magic time capsule fairy is going to tell you what song you should listen to right now. Something like a fun, like a fun engagement thing. And it's great because, just like how a website, for example, just like how Shein might create little mini games on their app to get people to come back to the platform and engage, Spotify's doing the same thing. I love it. So I have a bias to Spotify. I do get to see the analytics from Spotify for artists. It's a secret Spotify app that only artists have. But we do see, where our listeners are from, how many people are listening, actually where they came from, as in how they discovered your music. So was it through your artist page, or was it through a playlist, or even like what kind of playlist? Was it a playlist that was user generated, or was it a playlist that was editorially created? Things like that. So then you get a lot of breakdown, deep dives into your audience profile, and I find that very useful. In a way, I'm still testing, so I feel like I haven't built up my data to a point where I want to do something differently. But at the moment, I can already see some useful information. And you know what? You know what would be fun? I can share some of that with you right now. Would you like to know what my Spotify for artists? Now we have great clarity on what my stats are for Spotify for artists. In the last 28 days, it's telling me that my audience. Okay, let's go into demographics. Okay, interesting. Last 28 days, most of my audience is coming from France. Interesting because last month it was Poland.
Okay.
With Yeah,
Oh,
and
what's
then
on
the
there?
next top country is Brazil. It's it's actually
Ooh,
very close. Actually,
exciting.
it's very close to the top. And then the third is Italy, then Germany, then Mexico. That's cool. All right, Brazil. I see
Mhm.
you. Shout out to
It
Brazil.
is
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
representing.
Woo, woo.
Yeah, top cities. It's funny because I went into top cities because Singapore shows up in cities, not countries, and Singapore is like top 3 cities, which is actually so far
Mm.
behind the other countries because I guess the countries just have more people. So Singapore is going to lose out no matter
Mm.
what. Yeah, but it's things like these that, give you indications of certain decisions that you might want to make. Like,
Mhm.
if I were to do a show,
Mhm.
should I do it in Singapore? Maybe yes, because there's a concentration of people, right? So it's like one
Mhm.
city. Or should I
Mhm.
pick one of the top few countries like France or Brazil or Italy and then kind of go around there, right?
Mhm.
So that's how I would be using my data. And obviously, to be able to get this data, you need to focus first on traffic. And I think this is a strategy that I would recommend to anyone building a business, right? Whether you're selling food products or clothes or earphones or music, you need to start with data. And your data needs to be relevant to your product and your marketing and your messages. So don't yes, look at how competitors are doing, but don't use those benchmarks for yourself, right? Like, you still need your own data. So first thing you should do is traffic, top of funnel, make as much content as you can, put it out as many places as you can, get it in front of as many people as possible, and then that's where you get the data. So yeah, I would say don't focus on
Mhm.
conversion at the beginning of your marketing journey or brand building journey. Really just focus on traffic and see what the data tells you, and that will guide you for your strategy next.
Okay, I love that you mentioned data because Airbox, you actually have the opportunity of dealing with
Yes.
a lot of data, right, from different clients. And you're actually usually focused on e-commerce, right? And I was wondering what have been some of the most important learnings so far from working so closely with e-commerce businesses looking to efficiently track their data and offer them like valuable
Yes.
insight.
Well, we have a lot of juicy stories, but once you get into the way that someone organizes their data, you learn a lot about the business. And I think that for me, that's the most fun part about working in an analytics company. Everyone's setup is different based on the business itself. So I think one of my first learnings is for companies that do influencer marketing, right? Like apparels or anything design related or anything visual, anything like food products, right? A lot of influencer marketing. And one thing that they've struggled with a lot is trying to make their sales reports very clear that their sales don't include products that have been given to influencers as gifts. Because you use the same platform for all of that, right? Like generally, if you're a website, you are selling on that website and you're also gifting on the website. So influencers will go in and use a code to get their free gift. But that's not a sale, that's marketing. And that should be categorized as marketing, right? And that order needs to be removed from your sales data. So how are you going to do that, right? And there are companies with teams of analysts that spend hours every week just downloading CSV files and manually removing them or filtering them or sorting them and cleaning that data just to make sure that their sales reports exclude influencer gifts. But that's something that we can do because we set up the automation, we set up that analysis one time, and
because we can then automate it, that happens every day on schedule, no more manual work. So yeah, that's one thing that we help to do for people. That's really fun. The second learning would be profits. So we have a lot of people come to us with challenges in figuring out how much profit they're actually making on their website, because they want to either run ads, they either want to see how much money is actually coming in to the bank from the ads that they're running. So not just return on ad spend, but profit on ad spend, so they can better budget, right? The other thing that they need profits information for is if they're running some sort of commission-based business where they have artists or they have collaborations that they make sales on, and then they have to do a payout of the commission to the artist that they work with. So so that's pretty tricky. And if you want to manage that on a daily basis for multiple products, for multiple artists, that's a lot of work. And so that's something also that we automate for them. We automate profit on ad spend, and we automate profits by product for these two use cases. Do I have time for one more fun one that I found out recently? Okay, so recently I worked with a client that made me realize that there are certain analytics that might not track well on different platforms. So in this particular case, there were some UTMs, and we're talking about attribution now, right? We have some UTMs that come from that they put into Klaviyo, right? Their email marketing, and they wanted to be able to track how much their purchase revenue from these email marketing campaigns were, but as reported in GA4, Google Analytics 4. So for that attribution to happen, the UTMs sent by Klaviyo needs to be tracked well in Google Analytics 4. Surprise, they're not. They're not tracked well. There is a particular metric that doesn't show up in Google Analytics 4. It shows up intermittently, and it's very inconsistent, and therefore it's very, very difficult for them to do their reporting, and they have to do the reporting every month, obviously, and then it takes them hours and hours and hours, and it is even difficult for us to automate because of the missing metrics. So this was really fun for me because we had to come up with a creative solution to match those metrics on GA4 to the right campaigns on Klaviyo. And let me tell you, it was a really creative solution. And me and my team came up with it. And I'm honestly really proud of what we did, because I don't think that it could have been done, if we hadn't thought out of the box, and also if we didn't have spreadsheets. So I think we really made use of the Airboxer platform and the benefits of spreadsheets to come up with that solution. So yeah, proud of that.
Cool. All right. So a few learnings are that people actually need to know more about their profit, how their profits are organized, and they need better sales report about what they're doing, like they're actually clean. And they also need their analytics to be well connected and data coming and streaming from one place to another. And that's all those are all things that larger businesses kind of have running, because the smaller ones, because you were just telling me about all of this, and I was just thinking, wow. And those were actually running campaigns with, they're just small. They're just doing things on their own. There's just maybe one marketing manager doing everything. They can't even afford to keep track of all of that. So they kind of have to choose their own battles. So it's really tough. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. That was really good. And what is the one thing that you consider that marketing professionals who are aiming to truly grow their brands in 2024 should start doing today?
Well, I want to preface this by saying that I'm not the marketing guru of the world. There are many, many other people that can hold that title. But based on my own experience, which I think is nothing new, I think if a brand truly wants to grow in this day and age, you really need to understand your market. Depending on what product you're selling, this is going to resonate very differently with your market, and you need to figure out where that market is, and you'll need to test, because sometimes what you think is going to be the market is not the market, right? And you're not going to know that until you've tried the markets. So test so that you can understand your market, but also be open to learning new things, taking in new information, accepting that maybe your bet was not the right one, if it comes to that, and also be open to sharing, because in this economy, it's a competitive world out there, and if you're not helping somebody else is not going to help you. And yeah, no one is going to make it on their own in this economy, let me just say.
Okay, so partnerships too. Cool. Nice. Okay, so we're coming to the last 3 questions that I have for you. And these are questions that I like to ask everyone. The first one is, if you could design a beautiful mural in a place in a city that you absolutely love, what would it say?
Very cool. I think my mural would say something very positive and empowering, like always keep growing. I don't know, I could maybe phrase it better. Well, someone else would phrase it better, but like something along the idea of always keep growing, like the idea of don't be stagnant. There's always something more to learn, and there's always something more that you can do to make the world a better place and make your life better. So yeah, and I think it would have some nature stuff, trees, flowers. Yeah. I don't know what else. Horses. I love horses. The horses were just being there for fun. Just to know it's me, like, oh, that was Sasha's.
It would be very inspiring. Yeah. Right? I can imagine them running like they're, yes. Okay. And what if you had a lot of money, like unlimited budget to spend? Okay. To spend on a brand new product, and there would be like no one kind of like telling you like, don't do this, don't try that, just like your creative mind working towards this. What would you do first, and what would you do last?
As long as we're not talking about music, because music is a whole other beast, and I'm still trying to figure out how that's going to be a business. If I'm trying to build a business that can eventually make $1 million or $10 million or more, I think the last thing I would do personally would be fashion apparels, mainly because I think that for fashion, especially fast fashion, right? We're talking about like fast fashion as opposed to niche capsule collections. But for fast fashion, there are just so many designs, and it's hard to keep up with that. You need certain economies of scale to be able to build a fashion brand. So, and then, because it's fast fashion, you need to keep changing it like pretty often. So imagine you're trying to like produce a new collection every 3 months or 2 months, or, so it's pretty crazy. Also because fashion, like there's a lot of waste, and there are other things about it that just I wouldn't do it because of that. But that said, there are many brands out there doing good work in sustainability. So that's just hard for me. So I will buy I will buy the clothes. Y'all just do it and I'll buy it. The first thing I would do, well, if I had the answer to that, I would be doing it. Probably. But I'm still thinking about it. I know that it's going to be something, I would prefer it to be something that's essential and that solves a problem. I guess, very much like, I work in a software company, and we solve a problem. And I have spent a lot of time working on music, which is sad to say, but like, it's hard to call it an essential. Small segue, but like during COVID, all creatives and artists were considered non-essential workers. And that really just hit me real hard. It made a hole in my heart. So unfortunately, music, or at least even my music, right? My music is like not an essential. It's not something that people are searching for, and it's a brand new product. So, it's all about building the brand. So having experienced that, I would rather only be doing that for my music because I'm passion driven and purpose driven in my music. But if it was to be a business that requires cash flow and I would hire people for, etc., it should be something essential that solves a problem. That's something that I think I could build in. Yeah. I have some good examples. Yeah, I have some good examples
So you
of
think
good products. Actually, one, I'll just share one with you since it can't be copied. But for example, I discovered a brand called 𝐀𝐻𝐥𝐦𝐤𝐚. They are a sachet drink company, and what this drink is it's like a cleanse for women who have like hygiene concerns. So like if you're having, for example, if you have a problem with UTIs, for example, and you like want to do a flush of your urinary tract, then this drink is for you. And it helps to like balance like the flora and all this stuff. And there's some science behind it, which obviously I'm not a science person, but like I read it and it checked out. I was like, all right, I'm convinced. So something like that, right? Like people out there searching, I have a UTI, like how do I solve this problem? And then like, there is a drink, So something like that. Yeah. So we'll see.
Okay. So I love it that. So this question, I was actually wondering about like marketing, how you would spend your marketing budget on any product. But what you actually brought to me is that you would actually focus on the product. So you would think really really closely about the product and make sure that you design something that is very valuable, which is like I feel like that's the most fundamental part of it.
Yeah,
and thank you for sharing
if you have
that.
a great product, it basically sells itself.
And exactly. I love it. Is there a book that you like recommending to
Okay, this is going to be a
people?
fun one. Maybe something that's unexpected. I have it here, actually. I'm going to pull it up. So I recently saw this in a store and I picked it up in the airport, actually, in New York, in LaGuardia, my favorite airport.
Ooh.
It's Britney Spears' The Woman in Me. It's her autobiography. She just released it like late last year. And what's really cool about this book, and like it's Britney Spears, so everyone has an opinion on Britney Spears, right? Like the whole world has an opinion on her. But what this book does is that it gives her side of the story for certain things that have happened in cultural history. Like she'll touch on, like a VMAs performance that everyone was talking about, where they kind of judged her for dressing skimpily or whatever. Or she'll talk about like when Justin Timberlake broke up with her, like what was that like for her, and really goes into like the psychology of things, because there are some like gender differences also in that situation that she talked about, that she felt she couldn't dress in public. And then the main thing I think this book, everybody wants to know from this book, is how she actually was in an extremely toxic work environment where her father was her custodian at some point, and he was her custodian, meaning that he owns her entire brand, her life, her schedule, her what she eats, who she sees, and everything. So he literally owns her life, and he takes all the money that she makes. And this was happening for 13 years. So yeah, she really talks about how it was for her, and this kind of toxic work environment, and how she dealt with it, and what happened to her because of it, and how she got through that and everything. And I think the main thing is that for me, toxic work environment is a big deal. Actually, generally, toxic environments are kind of like my topic because I was in a lot of them, throughout my life. And I think that it's really important for anybody in any industry who might experience a toxic environment, be it in the workplace or in the home, or in a romantic relationship. You need to find solidarity in knowing that you're not alone, that other people are going through it. And then you need to learn, right? You need to learn how other people are dealing with it. And that kind of helps you to deal with it yourself. So yeah, So very, very mental health related. But if there's a book that I would recommend to people, it would be this autobiography. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm curious already. Yeah. And thank you so much for this. Honestly, it was such a fun chat.
Thanks for letting me talk. I talk a lot. I give long answers for everything.
Yeah. It was great. Thank you. I was wondering if people actually listening right now, in case they want to get in touch with you, what would be the best way?
So nowadays I'm very active on LinkedIn. So if it's about work, then you can reach me on LinkedIn, Salima Nadira. Chat with me. I'm friendly. I'm nice on LinkedIn. I'm also nice on Instagram. So if you're interested in my music, you can find me on Instagram. It's Sasha M. So the handle is sasasha.m, SASASHA.m. And then you can chat with me there. Mm-hmm. I love talking to people.
Nice. Okay. Thank you so much. And there is also a link in the description somewhere here. So for all of that. So thank you. And yes, Salima, Sasha, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing so much of you and so much about your journey and your learnings. It's been really, really, really great. And I hope to chat to you soon and learn more about like your journey. I can't wait for more things to happen to you.
Baby's coming. You're gonna see that. And there'll be a whole new marketing campaign. I'm gonna test it out. We'll have more learnings from there. So lots is happening.
Yeah, I want to schedule the next one.
But thank you for having me. Honestly, I'm just so honored that you were interested in my journey, especially like the duality of the music and the tech at the same time, and also just having you with your experience in life. Like you started a business, you're doing so many cool things, you're living in different countries. That it means a lot to me that you're interested in my story. So I'm very flattered, and thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'll see you soon.
All the best.
Thank you. Ready for this episode's takeaways? Number 1, tailor content. To get more out of your content, segment audiences meticulously and personalize messaging to different channels. Number 2, leverage partnerships. Collaborate with other businesses to extend brand reach and unlock new opportunities. And number 3, continuously optimize. Embrace testing and refinement to enhance marketing effectiveness. This was D2C Growth Mode, a Maymoto original podcast. Subscribe to get the hottest takeaways from all of our original shows every 2 weeks in your inbox. Happy emailing!